Hi, everyone. We're going to give it a few more seconds here for any last-minute stragglers, and then we'll start. All right, let's begin.
Okay, thank you, Julie. Good morning and welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining the webinar today. We want to spend some time with you today talking about the many and various kinds of scams related to the coronavirus. I'm Todd Casso, and I'm the director of the Federal Trade Commission's Midwest Region office in Chicago. And the FTC is thrilled to be partnering today with the Wisconsin Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection and the Better Business Bureau of Wisconsin to bring you this special webinar on COVID-19 related scams. Thank you so much to the BBB for hosting this webinar and to all of you for joining us. For those of you who may not be familiar with us, the FTC is the nation's consumer protection agency. Our mission is to combat deceptive and unfair practices in the marketplace, both through law enforcement and education. My office is one of 8 regional offices the FTC has throughout the United States. Based in Chicago, my office covers 11 states here in the Midwest, all the way from Kentucky to the Dakotas, including the great state of Wisconsin. I want to mention at the outset that although we'd love to be able to take your questions today, the webinar format makes it difficult for us to do so. But we'll provide information throughout the webinar on how you can contact the FTC, Wisconsin DATCP, and the Better Business Bureau to have your questions answered. One thing we all know from health emergencies and natural disasters is this, that scammers follow the headlines. They take advantage of what may be occurring in the news to find new ways to get consumers to part with their money or their personal financial information. And the current coronavirus pandemic is no exception. We saw pretty quickly that scammers were going to use this health crisis to play on consumers' fears to perpetrate a whole slew of both old and new scams. The FTC is very interested in hearing from all of you about the types of COVID-19 related scams that you're encountering in the marketplace. By sharing what you're seeing in your community, you can help law enforcers like the FTC know what you're encountering so we can alert the public and thereby help everyone else spot and avoid scams too. So please report scams to ftc.gov/complaint. Reporting is so important. Even when you encounter a scam and recognize it as such and don't fall victim, reporting in that instance can help prevent someone else from falling victim. Now, the FTC maintains a database of consumer fraud and identity theft complaints called Consumer Sentinel. And that database includes complaints that are submitted directly to the FTC, as well as complaints made to other agencies like Wisconsin DATCP and the Better Business Bureau of Wisconsin. Those agencies then share the complaints they receive with the FTC's Consumer Sentinel network. In that way, Consumer Sentinel is a one-stop shop of fraud complaints that's accessible to law enforcers here in Wisconsin and all across the United States. Thus far, Consumer Sentinel has received over 18,000 reports about COVID-related scams. And those complaints report $13.4 million in losses. And we'll talk in a minute about the most common complaints we're seeing. Now, from Wisconsin consumers, we've thus far received 389 reports of COVID-related scams. At the FTC, we always say that reported fraud is just the tip of the iceberg of the actual fraud that exists in the marketplace. So we know the issue is much larger than only those complaints that we've received. So let's get into some of the scams we're seeing. First and most importantly are fake treatments and cures. Everything from miracle cures and vaccine offers and home testing kits to scams that target people on Medicare. And in a few minutes, we'll talk about what the FTC and the FDA are doing about those claims of fake cures and treatments. But the takeaway tip is this: ignore online and telephone offers for vaccinations, tests, or cures. As you know, at this point, there are no vaccines or cures for COVID-19. So you know that any claim to the contrary is simply false. Right now, scammers are hawking bogus products to prevent, treat, or cure the coronavirus. If you see that type of ad, stop and think to yourself, if there's actually been a medical breakthrough, are you really going to hear about it for the first time from an ad or sales pitch on Facebook, or something that you receive in a text message or an email? The answer to that is clearly no. So train yourself to just ignore those types of false ads. And if you're on Medicare, you might get calls, emails, or see ads that claim to give you special access, either to testing kits or treatments. But that's not how Medicare works. Medicare representatives will never call you to offer special access or to put you in line for a test or treatment. Anyone who purports to be acting on behalf of Medicare and makes that type of offer is a scammer. Scammers also are sending emails and text messages that are trying to get your personal information, your money, or to load malware onto your computer. The slide shows an example of a fake World Health Organization email that would put malware on your computer if you clicked on the link in the blue box to download safety measures. We've also seen that scammers have bought up lots of domain names that include the word coronavirus, even including misspellings of the word. But if you visit one of those sites, they'll also likely put malware on your device. So here's the tip: don't click on links in emails or text messages from sources you don't know. Doing so could download a virus onto your computer or other device. And because of that, you want to make sure that the anti-malware and antivirus software on your computer is up to date. Now let's talk about everyone's favorite topic, robocalls. Now that more people are working from home, they might be picking up calls they wouldn't usually answer. That means we're all probably being exposed to more robocalls. Scammers have been quick to adjust their robocalls to try to take advantage of consumers' fears about the pandemic, offering fake cures, prevention solutions, test kits, special access for Medicare recipients, health insurance, cleaning supplies, and the list goes on. But they're also tailoring their regular robocall scams. So we've seen some Social Security Administration robocalls that now reference the coronavirus. These calls tell consumers that their Social Security number has been suspended due to suspicious activity relating to the coronavirus. We've also seen mortgage and student loan debt relief robocalls that mention relief programs purportedly relating to the COVID-19 situation. Here's what you can do to avoid falling victim. Simply hang up on illegal robocallers, then block the number that appeared on your caller ID using the blocking service on your phone or provided by your carrier. Then report the call to the Federal Trade Commission at ftc.gov/complaint. An important thing to remember with robocalls: don't press any numbers. The recording might say that pressing a number will let you speak to a live operator or remove you from their call list, but it's more likely to just lead to more robocalls instead. So when you pick up the phone and encounter a robocall, just hang up. Now here's another headline that scammers are definitely following. The Coronavirus Aid Relief Economic Act, or CARES Act, provides financial help for individuals. That's the Economic Impact Payment Program, or stimulus checks, that you've been hearing about, where the government is sending checks to qualifying consumers. You may have already received one, in fact. Criminals use that type of headline to make their phony pitches sound more credible. Here's what you need to know. If someone calls or emails you out of the blue claiming that there's money available from a government agency, but you have to make an upfront payment or provide some personal or financial information in order to get the money, hang up the phone. The government won't ask you to pay to get these stimulus checks, nor will they call and ask for sensitive information like your bank account number or your social security number. We've also been hearing from consumers right here in Wisconsin who received a text message indicating that their government stimulus check is ready and to click on a link for more information. That too is a scam. The government is not going to send you a text message about your stimulus check. Scammers are trying to take advantage of the fact that consumers have heard about the checks, but don't know exactly how or when they're going to be distributed. So ignore anyone who calls, texts, or emails to quote unquote help you get money from the government. So let's go over the facts on who's actually going to get a stimulus check. Taxpayers who filed a 2018 or 2019 tax return are eligible for full payments if they have incomes below certain thresholds. $75,000 for individuals, $112,500 for a head of household, or $150,000 for married couples. When the CARES Act first passed, there was a lot of confusion about eligibility for individuals who don't file taxes or otherwise have no taxable income, including Social Security recipients and SSI beneficiaries. Treasury has now clarified that Social Security and SSI recipients are eligible for payments like everyone else. And people with no taxable income are eligible too. Now, how much will you get? Most people will get $1,200 or $2,400 per couple, although some will get less depending on their income. For people with higher incomes, the payment gradually phases out. The payment is reduced by $5 for every $100 above the eligibility thresholds that I mentioned. $75,000 for single filer and $150,000 for married. For example, a taxpayer filing single who makes $85,000 would receive a partial payment of $700, $1,200 minus $500 equaling $700. And a taxpayer earning $99,000 would receive no payment at all. To receive economic impact payments for children, parents or guardians must claim the child as a dependent. Parents will receive $500 per qualifying child under the age of 17. Young adults, like college students, can't get the payment themselves if someone else claims them as a dependent. So how will you get your payment? If you filed taxes in 2018 or 2019, or you don't file taxes but do get Social Security payments, you don't have to do anything to get your payment. This covers the vast majority of people. The government already has the information it needs to determine eligibility and to send you your money. For Social Security and SSI beneficiaries, the IRS will use direct deposit information that's on file with the Social Security Administration. Payments will arrive automatically. Taxpayers without direct deposit on file with the IRS will receive a check in the mail, again automatically. Likewise, if you get a paper check from Social Security, you will receive a paper check from the IRS, again automatically. Now, if you want to get direct deposit instead of a check, or if you need to update your direct deposit information that's on file with the IRS, there is an online portal for this purpose on the IRS website called Get My Payment. To access this portal, always start at irs.gov/coronavirus. On Monday of this week, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau also cleared the way for governments to issue these funds to consumers via prepaid cards. The details are still developing, but this will enable people to use the Get My Payment portal on the IRS's website to choose to get their payment via a prepaid card. Now, what if you typically don't file a tax return? How will you get your payment? In limited circumstances, the IRS will take information through an online portal, located again at irs.gov/coronavirus. This time, look for the portal that says non-filers enter payment info here. People who don't usually file federal taxes, so-called non-filers, include people who have gross income over $12,200 or $24,400 for married couples, who have no income or are not required to file taxes for some other reason. To get their payments, non-filers must fill out a short form to submit to the IRS through the online portal. This portal went live on Friday, April 10th. People who get benefits from Social Security do not need to use the online portal. But please be very careful if you need to use this portal. The portal will take you to a free file fillable forms webpage. This is a .com website used for free e-filings. But always get to this portal through the IRS's website and never through a hyperlink in a text or an email. Once you're on this form, you'll need to give them information that includes your date of birth, Social Security number, and bank account number, including the routing number for direct deposit of your funds. So given the sensitivity of the information that you're providing, you see why it's so important that you start and access the portal at irs.gov/coronavirus. So that's the economic impact payments. Now let's talk about law enforcement. An important part of the FTC's work is targeting companies that make claims without the scientific proof to back them up. During this pandemic, the FTC's attorneys and investigators are working closely with the Food and Drug Administration to find the companies who are peddling the fake cure, treatment, and prevention products that we talked about earlier. The two agencies recently sent warning letters to 9 companies, giving them 48 hours to report back on how they'll address the concerns raised. Some of the companies who received these letters are listed on the slide. Both the FTC and FDA then watch to make sure the claims are removed and watch social media, online marketplaces, and complaints to the FTC to make sure they really have cut it out. We're happy to report that in this instance, the response to our warning letters has been very good. The companies have adjusted their advertising to remove the claims that we were concerned about. All told, the FTC has now sent more than 25 warning letters to companies making false cure, treatment, or prevention claims. The FTC is also tackling illegal coronavirus robocalls. Over the last several weeks, FTC staff sent 12 letters to companies that help scammy telemarketers, warning those companies about the penalties for doing so. These are providers of Voice over Internet Protocol, or VoIP services, companies that transmit illegal robocalls or carry them for telemarketers. The letters remind the VoIP providers that under the FTC Act and the Telemarketing Sales Rule, assisting and facilitating others involved in illegal robocalling is itself illegal. The last set of 3 letters were sent jointly by the FTC and the Federal Communications Commission. They were sent to 3 companies who we knew had transmitted robocalls offering fraudulent COVID-19 home testing kits or claiming that their HVAC services will help fight the virus. The letters gave the companies 48 hours to stop transmitting these calls, and if they don't, the FCC will authorize US voice providers to block all calls from those companies. So that's another way that the FTC, working with our partners, has been disrupting robocallers who are trying to take advantage of the pandemic. And the last thing I'd like to encourage you to do is stay informed. One way we can all help each other is by sharing good, trustworthy resources when we find them. I hope you'll share the information on this slide in your community. You can keep up to date with the latest scams by signing up for the FTC's consumer alerts. Visit ftc.gov/subscribe in order to do so. As I've mentioned, your reports do matter to the FTC, to all the law enforcers who have access to our Consumer Sentinel network, and to the people in your community you help every time you report a scam. Please, whenever you spot a suspicious claim or anything you think might be a scam, tell the FTC at ftc.gov/complaint. And at the bottom of the slide are 3 key resources for you to share. To know the latest about the pandemic, go to coronavirus.gov, which takes you straight to the CDC. To learn more about scams and how to avoid them, visit ftc.gov/coronavirus. And to find out what else is going on across the federal government, along with lots of resources from other agencies, go to usa.gov/coronavirus. Thank you for your time and attention today. If you have any questions, feel free to contact the FTC using any of the resources on the slide. And now I'd like to introduce Laura Sutherland with Wisconsin DATCP.
Hello. Good morning. Thank you, Todd. I'm Laura Sutherland, and I'm the administrator for the Division of Trade and Consumer Protection at DATCP. And I would like to first echo Todd Casso's sentiment. DATCP very much appreciates being able to partner with the FTC and the Better Business Bureau of Wisconsin to talk to you today about COVID-19 related scams. Thank you to the BBB for hosting and for all of you for joining us today. These are unprecedented times, and we are hopeful the discussion today identifies well ways to avoid scam resources you can rely on if you have fallen victim to a scam, and helps you remain safe and free from fraud throughout this crisis. Let me start by talking about who we are and what we do. The Bureau of Consumer Protection at DATCP is the state's consumer protection agency. Our mission is to ensure fair business practices for buyers and sellers alike by prohibiting fraud, deception, and unfair business practices in the marketplace. The Bureau is broken into 3 separate units: our consumer hotline, where we field complaints and inquiries from consumers; our mediation unit, where we attempt to resolve issues between businesses and consumers; and our investigation unit, where we investigate consumer protection violations. Investigations can then lead to enforcement by referring those matters to the district attorney, to the Wisconsin Department of Justice, or the agency can resolve matters in-house through negotiated consent judgments and settlements. Another key component to the Bureau's charge is education. We host trainings all over the state related to a number of consumer protection issues, including landlord-tenant, ID theft, and all sorts of consumer protection scams. And through all these endeavors, we help create policy on new and emerging consumer protection issues faced by Wisconsin through rulemaking and advising our legislature on consumer-related issues. Now, Todd discussed these scams in his presentation in detail, and I won't repeat them here. I will say that DATCP is also fielding complaints related to scammers posing as government agencies, healthcare professionals, fake vaccine offers, and home testing kits, and scams related to impending stimulus checks coming from the IRS. For instance, in Dane County, there were reports of people impersonating healthcare providers. During this crisis, we encourage folks to rely on trusted sources of information. In Wisconsin, a website has been set up to assist in locating accurate information from the government. That website is wisconsin.gov/COVID-19. It provides links to relevant information on a wide variety of issues, such as unemployment, education, and small business loans. For the most up-to-date information about the coronavirus, you should visit the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, which is out of Atlanta, Georgia, or the World Health Organization. Our hotline is also seeing scams in all the ways you would imagine. We're seeing scams related to robocalls, posts on Facebook, and other social media. The most common scam we're seeing and hearing about are the phishing emails and text messages. So I'm going to provide you with a couple of examples that we've seen through our hotline. The first is a common everyday phishing email. You'll see that there's very poor grammar in this email. The email purports to have information to keep you safe and healthy, and it contains a link for you to click on to get further information. This link could obviously contain a virus that would infect your computer, or it could take you to another website asking for personal identifying information. So again, you should rely on trusted sources of information like discussed in the previous slide, not unsolicited emails from unknown sources. This email is another example of a phishing email that has all the telltale signs of a scam. It purports to come from an entity that we would trust, the CDC. It preys on fears by telling you about cases in your area, and it creates a sense of urgency for you to click on that link to figure out that information. Even state agencies are receiving emails just like the one on the screen here. The CDC is not sending emails about the virus, nor are other governmental agencies. If you have questions, you should go directly to the governmental source you're seeking information from. And get trusted information there. The easiest way to protect yourself is to know the signs of a scam and not to engage. If it seems suspicious or too good to be true, it most likely is. If you do not know the person emailing you or you think you may know them, confirm that you do by calling or emailing that person with the contact information you trust. Do not respond to the email. Do not call the number that's provided to you, but use contact information you know and you trust for the individuals that are purportedly contacting you. If it's the government that you think is contacting you, hang up that robocall, as Todd said, and look up the contact information yourself. If you have concerns about Medicare, your Social Security account, your stimulus check, your student loan, visit the government website for the correct contact information and the correct information about the concerns that you may have. Another telltale sign of a scam is the requirement that the request that you wire money or send them gift cards in response for a solicitation. The government or any reputable business is not going to request money in this way or payment in this way. If you're being solicited for a gift card, it is a scam and you should ignore the request and hang up the phone. Also, treat your personal information like it's cash. You should protect your Social Security number, your insurance information, your driver's license number as if they are cash and keep them safe, and share them only with people that you know and entities that require that you share them. Now I'm going to turn to a couple executive orders that have been passed by the governor during the COVID-19 crisis. The first one is one having to do with evictions. Many of you may know that the governor issued an executive order placing a moratorium on evictions. The order does a couple of important things. First, landlords cannot evict tenants for 60 days from the date of the order. That is May 26th. During that time, no evictions can take place unless there's an imminent threat of physical harm. Otherwise, tenants cannot be evicted for non-payment of rent. This is true for residential and commercial properties. This order does not mean, however, that tenants should cease paying rent. We understand many are experiencing extreme economic hardship during these times. However, tenants should continue to pay rent if they can. And we are encouraging landlords and tenants to work together to determine how best to make their rent payments during this crisis. The department, DATCP, is also issuing an emergency rule on fees related to late rental payments. The emergency rule will prohibit these fees during the crisis and for a period of time thereafter. This rule will take effect as soon as it is published. It will be open to the public for comment during that period, but it's after it is published, it will have the force of law and the agency will be able to enforce it. The second executive order that I wanted to talk about is that dealing with price gouging. Price gouging has been the main complaint that DATCP has received during this crisis. There's a great deal of confusion about what price gouging is and what it isn't, so I'd like to take a little time to address this. On March 12th, the governor issued an order declaring a period of abnormal economic disruption. This triggered the law for the first time in Wisconsin. Prior to that time, the price gouging law has never been utilized in the state. From March 12th forward, any consumer good or service could not be priced at 15% higher than the seller's highest price within the last 60 days before the declared emergency. There are, however, significant exceptions to this rule. One major exception is that a seller can pass on its increased cost to the consumer. As you can imagine, there are significant strains on supply chains during this crisis that are increasing the cost of goods. This can be very frustrating to consumers. However, much of the increased pricing we are seeing is just that. It is increased cost to the seller that is being passed on to the consumer and would not be considered price gouging. This law covers consumer goods and services. This law covers all consumer goods and services. But as you can imagine, the main complaints that DATCP is seeing deal with cleaning supplies, toilet paper, masks, and certain food staples such as milk, eggs, and meat. We are also seeing online sellers that have purportedly stockpiled certain items like PPE and selling those for high prices. The law covers the entire state and all sellers in the supply chain. This includes manufacturers, producers, suppliers, wholesalers, distributors, and retailers. The agency has set up an electronic complaint form that's especially designed for price gouging. The information requested in this form about the product, its price, where the product is being sold, must be completed in order for the agency to aptly investigate the complaint. If you think you are seeing price gouging or price gouging is occurring, please visit our website for our FAQs on what price gouging is and file a complaint there if appropriate. For all other inquiries or complaints during this time, you can call our hotline or visit our website. We have FAQs on the governor's eviction moratorium. We have other resources about COVID scams, and you can file a complaint. And also follow us on Twitter and Facebook for the latest news about what the Bureau of Consumer Protection is doing to protect consumers against fraud during this crisis. Thank you very much for your attention today. I appreciate it. Stay safe and healthy. And now I'd like to introduce you Lisa Schiller from the BBB.
Thank you so much, Laura, and thank you to Todd. I'm Lisa Schiller, Director of Investigations and Media Relations for the Better Business Bureau serving Wisconsin. The Better Business Bureau is so pleased to join the FTC and DATCP in this important webinar. We are hopeful that this information is helpful to all those joining us, and we hope that we can all help you spot and avoid scams, as well as encourage you to report them. For more than 100 years, the Better Business Bureau has made it its mission to advance marketplace trust and to help create an ethical marketplace where buyers and sellers can trust each other. It's hard to imagine that scammers would try to take advantage of you through a fake charity or donation request, especially now, but they do. Scam emails are trying to con people into donating to fake fundraisers. The Better Business Bureau has a charity arm called BBB Wise Giving Alliance and its own website that allows you to quickly check on charities at give.org. BBB Wise Giving Alliance is a standards-based charity evaluator that seeks to verify the trustworthiness of nationally soliciting charities by completing rigorous evaluations based on 20 holistic standards that address charity governance, effectiveness, reporting, finances, fundraising, appeal accuracy, and other issues. The Wise Giving Alliance suggests that donors consider giving to experienced relief organizations at this time and that people verify a charity before making a donation. We expect fake charity scams and illegitimate GoFundMe requests to start popping up in the weeks ahead. Please take time to report these to our office so that we can investigate them and share the information with other appropriate agencies. Don't let anyone rush you into making a decision. If someone wants donations in cash, by gift card, or by wiring money, don't do it. Don't ever feel pressured to give. BBB has some additional tips when donating at this time. Watch out for name similarities. Before you give, be sure you have the exact name of the charity to avoid a case of mistaken identity. Also, review the website carefully. A responsible charity will include the following facts on its website: its mission and programs, measurable goals, and concrete criteria that describe its achievements. You should also be able to find information on its finances. Avoid on-the-spot donation decisions from unfamiliar organizations. The current state of the world will bring a higher frequency of donation requests. Don't succumb to pressure to make an immediate giving decision. Responsible organizations will welcome your gift tomorrow as much as they do today. Be wary of emotional appeals. It is not uncommon to see marketers making emotional pleas to donors. Instead of making an impulse decision based on emotion, do some research first to verify that your selected charity operates ethically. Avoid charities that don't disclose. Although participation is voluntary, charities that don't disclose any of the requested information to the Better Business Bureau's Wise Giving Alliance raise a critical red flag for donors. Visit give.org to find out if your selected charity is non-disclosure. Rely on standards-based evaluations. Charities can demonstrate they are trustworthy by agreeing to in-depth evaluations, such as the 20 BBB standards for charitable accountability. Get free access to charity reports again at give.org. The #1 most reported complaint to BBB's Scam Tracker website regarding COVID-19 and to BBB's nationwide through complaints are reports of phony websites. Since the onset of coronavirus, BBB has received numerous reports about scam websites popping up claiming to sell face masks, hand sanitizers, and bogus at-home testing kits, but the products never arrive. Often, by the time you file a complaint, the websites are no longer active, further proving their illegitimacy. These phony online stores may look legitimate, but a closer look will show inflated prices, fake or no contact information, or a phone number that never leads to a live or authentic person. Check the URL information, and chances are these websites were just created. Sometimes ads will pop up on social media for these amazing products. Remember that scammers are also impersonating the World Health Organization, or WHO, the CDC, and others. Phony websites can easily steal addresses, logos, photos, and graphics of real companies or agencies. However, they almost always have red flags. Capital letters where they shouldn't be, misspelled words, poor grammar, and paragraphs that just don't make sense. Online sellers will claim they have in-demand products, like cleaning products, medical supplies, and health products, but they don't deliver. And now they have your money. Also, when dealing with online sales and websites, you'll want to be suspicious of testimonials, which are easily made up and are not a substitute for scientific evidence. Also, keep your eyes peeled for products that claim to offer a cure. Don't fall for these fake companies and phony websites. Stop and take a moment to check on the company and its URL, and please take time to report them. Better Business Bureau advises businesses at this time to be aware of phony SBA scams. Small business owners are getting hit with lots of information and making tough decisions on how to survive the COVID-19 crisis. With all of these messages flooding their inbox, social media, and phone, it's easy to mistake a scam for a real offer. This is how the scam works. An email, text, or caller ID appears to be from the U.S. Small Business Administration or an attorney representing the SBA. The SBA is offering grants just for small businesses affected by the coronavirus outbreak. The application looks simple and may involve completing a short form requesting banking and business information. After being approved, the business owner is asked to pay a processing fee, up to a couple thousand of dollars. This is just one example of the type of scam going around. BBB Scam Tracker has received several recent reports about a sophisticated new twist. After the government agency contacts business owners about the grant, a friend then reaches out through Facebook. This friend claims to have successfully received money from the exact same grant and wants you to know about the program. What a coincidence. Naturally, the friend is not really a friend, but a compromised Facebook account contacting all of your friends on Facebook. Here are BBB's tips to spot a small business loan scam. Look for a website that ends in .gov or .ca. Legitimate government entities will have websites and emails that end with .gov, such as www.sba.gov. Second, do a quick internet search for similar scams. Many government agencies helping small businesses are offering loans and other programs. Be sure to confirm that the offer is real before sharing personal or business information. Find the agency website through an online search. Never click on a link in an email, and be sure the program is on their website. Third, government agencies do not typically text or communicate through social media avenues, such as Facebook. Be wary of unsolicited messages. And last, if you have to pay money to claim a free government grant, it is not really free. A real government agency will not ask you to pay an advance processing fee. Businesses don't typically receive government grants. In general, the federal government only offers grants to nonprofits, educational institutions, and state and local governments. You can learn more at sba.gov. No matter how convincing the idea sounds and how much your business can use free money, don't fall for it. If you receive an offer that appears to come from the SBA or another state or local government small business agency, research it before sharing any personal information. Now, let's talk about how we can support small businesses during coronavirus. We don't know how long COVID-19, with its shutdowns and social distancing, will last, but we do know that small businesses need your support to make it through these uncertain times. Here are a few tips from the Better Business Bureau on how everyone can support small businesses, with or without spending money. Let's remember the businesses that are worried and suffering and uncertain as to what their future looks like. Home improvement contractors, daycare providers, dry cleaners, car mechanics, your dentist or chiropractor, graphic designers who design your office brochures, or the accounting firm who does your books, hairdressers, and restaurants. The list goes on. Everyone is feeling the impact. Here are a few practical ways to support small businesses. Skip the refund and take a rain check. If you paid in advance for an event, such as theater tickets or a class or a service, consider taking a credit for the future instead of asking for a refund. These businesses will appreciate not needing to issue so many refunds right now. Also, consider buying a gift card for later. Many small businesses are offering gift certificates and some even at discounted rates to use later. Also, commit to future work. While right now may not be the best time to start that home renovation project, your contractor will appreciate you committing to future projects when business opens back up. Shop local and online. Local shops and vendors have had to close their physical doors, but many are still operating online. Last, get takeout or delivery. Many restaurants are now offering takeout as their dining rooms are closed. Support these local institutions by getting your food or drinks to go and enjoying it at home. As well, not everyone has the financial resources to pay in advance. So if your wallet is feeling the pinch, here are some ways to show your favorite small businesses that you support them. Write an online review. This is a good time to finally get around to reviewing your favorite local business. These 5-star reviews do help companies rank well in search engines and on other listing services. This is an easy, free way to show your favorite small businesses that you support them. Write a review at bbb.org. Second, like and share your favorite small businesses on social media. This shows that you support them and will help them reach future customers and gain more exposure. Last, tell your businesses that you appreciate their work. These are tough times. Keep morale up by reaching out to the businesses in your community and letting them know you appreciate them. If you've spotted a scam, please report it to bbb.org/scam tracker. Share your information. It helps us and it helps others. And please visit BBB's coronavirus landing page often to learn more at bbb.org/council/coronavirus. The Better Business Bureau is here for you. We are open for business. And although our staff is working from home, we are still available through email, phone, and live chat. We are continuing to accept, process, and mediate complaints, answer inquiries, send out press releases, investigate companies, do media interviews, and issue business reports for free, just as we always have. We are extending the complaint response time for all businesses, and we are working with each individual accredited business to evaluate its needs and how we can help them during this time. BBB remains committed to assisting consumers in finding businesses, brands, and charities they can trust. Throughout the pandemic, the Better Business Bureau is open for business, and we are here for you. The Better Business Bureau Wisconsin graciously thanks our more than 6,500 accredited businesses throughout the great state of Wisconsin. Without them, we could not do what we do.
Hi, everyone. Todd from FTC seems to have been taken away, so I will close out the webinar. These last few slides provide resources and links that you can go to anytime to get help that you need. If there's any questions or any resources that you need in regards to scams that you've seen or have fallen for, we are here to help. We are not taking questions at the end of this webinar, and we strongly advise you to contact one of these numerous additional resources to answer all of your questions. As a reminder, this webinar is recorded, and you will receive a copy of the recording after this webinar is completed. There's lots of information on these last two slides, and I want you to know that this is recorded and you will receive all of this via your email that you registered with. So if you miss something on these last two slides of resources and links, you will receive it in your email. We want to thank you so much for joining us today. It's very important to spread the word about the scams that are affecting our state and our country as a whole. Thank you.